Okay, gloves on time. Right, well this is a very narrow lane, so have to be a bit careful. And what's this, you say? Look at this bike. This is not one of the usual bikes. This is not the Suzuki, this isn't the Honda, isn't the Cub, isn't the Royal Enfield. Well, actually this is my first run out on it since I've done a bit of refurbishment, which I did mention in a previous video. I think that I'd been doing a little bit of work on an elderly high mileage machine. This thing has got some torque, my goodness. Mind you, it has been geared down, I believe. It's got one more tooth on the rear, which should give it a bit more oomph. Anyway, it's riding quite nicely. I've worked on the brakes, so they'll take a little while to bed in. Yeah, the back one's got new pads and a disc, and it's not wonderful at the moment. I am trying to use it a bit to try and bed it a bit. The front forks, I've done a bit of work on those, and the front brake, which I haven't needed to touch, is really rather good. My God, this thing is going to be a handful. You could lift the front wheel in a second. Yeah, it certainly does feel somewhat under-geared, certainly with my weight on it. Yes, that seems to be working nicely. Have to say the engine is in remarkably good order for 53,000 miles. It's been treated to super unleaded for most of its life, I understand, so maybe that's worth doing if it has an effect like this. Now, this is a very awkward little bit. You never know what's coming the other way. You have to take it carefully. Yep, that's okay. No traffic really today. I'm afraid the non-standard silencers are perhaps a little noisier than I would like, even though I did put the optional baffles back in. But the originals were just a little bit rusty, and they would need welding on the stubs. But to do that I would need to take the covers off, and they're rusted on solid, so I opted to put these silencers on, which were gifted to me. And I have to say they do look quite nice. I quite like stainless, the look of stainless, so I've got no complaints in that direction. But they are just a tad on the noisy side. One thing I've noticed is the tick over a little bit on the high side here. And I've got the throttle shut and we're doing 25 miles an hour, which is perhaps a little bit higher than I need, so I'll need to look into that. That's the first thing I've noticed. Need to cut down the tick over somewhat. Pulls very well though from low revs. Yeah, I need to knock 200 or 300 revs off of the tick over for sure. Gear change is sweet. Handling seems okay. No nasty pulls in either direction. And it's pretty comfy. Well, we selected neutral easily enough. I think the brakes will bed in. I've had the front ones apart, but I haven't actually needed to do any work. They were all the pistons were free. Pads in really good order. The rear ones I put new EBC pads on, even though I didn't need to when I'd actually got them off. The original pads were only 1/3 worn, so I didn't need to change them, but I did. The disc had a bit of wear, so I decided to change that. My word, it's got higher boost of acceleration, which is a bit surprising. I think the forks are a little bit stiff. Can't really see. Keep an eye on those. They should bed in. I put new bushes in as well as new seals. The original fork oil was very, very mucky, so I doubt that there'd been much attention to them in quite a few years. I mean, this bike is now 17 years old, and I guess it would have had fork seals removed and replaced, well, at least once. and it's nice. It cruises beautifully at low speed, which is something that I like. A bit of Saturday traffic. Unfortunately, I've had to go on a Saturday to get this job done, but never mind, we'll see how it goes. We're actually going into Stroud, which is always a pretty busy place, particularly on a Saturday. I have to say it's not my favourite place. There's a big road work down here, so that's probably what's causing the congestion. Unfortunately, that silver car stops me from filtering. Don't know where he thinks he's going, actually. Is he going right or is he going straight on? None of us know. A little bit of filtering is required, obviously. Yes, there's a long-standing road work just there. Oof. Well, the suspension, the rear is set to the lowest setting, so certainly at the moment it feels quite comfy. Okay, we have to go left at the top rather. One of these awkward hill starts where you have to use your throttle hand and your brake at the same hand at the doing two jobs, which is not wonderful. Anyway, never mind. Yeah, it's ridiculous. They tick over 1400. I imagine it's fairly easy to do, unlike the Suzuki, which requires you to lift the tank. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. What an absolute